Hello and welcome to Match of the Day, which is coming to you today from Lambert Park, where I have once again become one of the hard hat brigade, and the genuine articles are all behind me, as you can see. Well, today, of course, the big one here is the match between APIA and South Melbourne. APIA already champions, but we thought we might come out here and celebrate with them. Last week, of course, we had a lot of fun on Match of the Day. I hope we're going to have as much fun here today. Let's have a look at the highlights from last week.
Forward, appeals for offside, flag stays down, flag is up, but the Moxie continues, play on, there's his hat-trick, Apia's day. Rain falling now, only minutes to play, desperate coming out, Mark. Has he got support? Side, left foot,
Well, let's recapitulate the first try. He has pushed the day. The value of the $21,500 was won by Mr. Sanchez of 22 and Hilton Phillips. Right, the third economy entry at the 51.
Well, there's some of the highlights from last week, and I'm sure that these fans behind me will agree that we're going to have as much fun here today. So before we go up to Mike Hill for our lineups today, let's hear these boys. All right, let's hear it, boys.
Has been won by number.
Well, thanks, Les, and there's the scene here at Lambert Park for our match of the day today. South Melbourne preparing to get us underway, and the visiting side, they come into this match in fourth spot. Referee this afternoon is Mr. Don Campbell from Adelaide, and South Melbourne, the blue and white, kick in from right to left in the first half. So a long one forward, Arno Batonia, the player, chasing back there. Now let's see if we can take a quick check on the two team lineups. Firstly, the APIA lineup, the West End Soccer League champions for this year, and they've made two changes in that side that lost last week to Preston. Charlie Yankos and Mark Brown both come back from suspension. The players out, Vic Pazanic, who's injured, and Peter Catholis, who's suspended. Now this is Hilton Phillips. Good run from Phillips, getting that one across into the path of Ward, and put away there by Ange Postecoglou for the first corner of the afternoon, but that was a good break there by APIA. Ange Postecoglou recalled to the South Melbourne side this afternoon as the player doing the rescuing act. So the first corner of the afternoon goes to APIA, to be taken there by Peter Tredanic. Giartis, the young goalkeeper who's come in for the last 3 weeks, he's certainly done well in his 3 appearances, faces this corner, taken there by Tredanic. And there was a trip there on Steve Blair. So a free kick will relieve the pressure for South Melbourne. So Gary McDowell, one of the most important players in this South Melbourne side. Let's have a look at their team lineup this week. And it shows one change from the side that drew 1-1 last week against Heidelberg. Carl Holford is the player who moves to the substitutes bench to make room there for Ange Postecoglou, who comes back from suspension. Giartis just throwing that one out. This is Bobby Russell. Now Nizakis. Bobby Russell today playing his 129th consecutive game for South Melbourne. He hasn't missed a match since he signed for them from Adelaide City. In fact, Bobby Russell was signed for South Melbourne by Rasic. He was coach there back in 1983. So here's Russell. Now Stevenson, intercepted there by Paul De Marigny. Now Ward. Paul De Marigny. Forceful hope opening this by APIA. Paul De Marigny, now Ward, putting that one down. Played by Steve Blair. Danny Wright, playing that one up, now Wade. Looking for Craney on this near touchline, the ball beats him into touch. So a throw for APIA. Rod Brown, leading goal scorer in the league this year with 14 goals. Butler, they came off with Miranda, now Stevenson. Stevenson doing well to keep that in. Miranda playing it forward. Batonia there, cool under pressure, all the way back to Pisano. Quick throw, Mark Brown, back from suspension. He missed the last 2 matches through suspension. It's the player who can bring it out of defence. Now Rod Brown. Challenge coming in there from Gary McDowell. Referee Don Campbell, have a quick word there with Gary McDowell. Rod Brown was the player who was fouled by Gary McDowell. Phillips Socceroo midfield player. Free kick to APIA to be taken there by Charlie Yankos. Just lifting this one in. In there for Gary Ward, away by Russell. On his way there by McDowell. And now Steve Blair. Paul Wade. Now caught from behind the referee there, playing good advantage. Now Russell. Yankos the player back there for APIA now. Paul De Marigny. Ward, Tredenick. Good play this from APIA. Ward there with the cross. Rod Brown with the header. So close to goal number 15 for Rod Brown. What a brilliant move that from APIA. No wonder their fans are celebrating. There was some lovely play there by Tredenick and by Gary Ward. And it was a good cross from Gary Ward. Rod Brown, the header down, fishing up wide. Yard is there having the move. Rod Brown was the player coming in. So sharp this season, Rod Brown. Russell forward. Danny Wright on the chase through. Tied up there by Mark Brown. No relation to Rod Brown, the leading goal scorer. Here's Mark Brown again. Now Tredenick. Miranda in there first. This is McDowell. Danny Craner there, beaten by Lawrence. Forward there by Butler. Brown on the chase through. Giartis coming out of his goal. Again, good brave goalkeeping. 2 APIA players there bearing down on the young keeper, and he did well. Postecoglou tries to play that one forward, and it goes out of play. Joining me this afternoon is former Australian skipper Johnny Warren. Welcome, John, and we're now looking at the West End Soccer League champions for this year.
Yeah, Mike, I'm quite surprised at the opening minutes because I came along fully expecting perhaps an anticlimax, APIA having the championship wrapped up, South Melbourne to be a little bit more hungry for success, but on the contrary, it's been exactly the opposite. APIA have been very positive in the opening minutes, as if wanting to celebrate in front of their own fans with a good victory here.
Lawrence, Butler, giving that one straight to Danny Craney. Overrunning the ball. The pitch itself looks in magnificent condition, but it really is dry. It's quite bumpy in places. It's going to make it awkward for players this afternoon. Now Batonia. John Paul De Marigny on that far side, taking up a good position. And the offside flag was up. Kevin took the linesman on this near touchline. Free kick taken. Don Campbell, our referee this afternoon from Adelaide. 47 years old, he's a FIFA official. And now Russell. Oh, was charged down by Rod Brown. So a throw to South Melbourne. They come into this match in 4th position. Now McDowell. There by Mark Brown, and only as far low as Paul Wade. Now Craney. Postecoglou there's made a run on the touchline. Craney lifting that one in. The header from Danny Wright. Brilliant save that from Pisano. Danny Wright, who's scored 3 goals so far this season since his transfer from Brisbane Lions, was the player there who nearly made it number 4 for the year. Danny Craney, former Celtic and Wolves star, lifting that one in. Good header this. Tony Pisano tips it over the bar and away for a corner.
Lots of reasons for APIA's success this year, Mike, and one of them has to be the former Tony Pisano has had an absolutely brilliant season, and that was one reason why with saves like that.
Now Miranda, corner. It's forward. And that one by Charlie Yankos. Hilton Phillips doing well to keep it in. Postecoglou just lifting that one inside, looking for Stevenson. Away there by Batonia. Stuart Stevenson. Crowded out there by Terry Butler and Batonia. Still Stevenson battling away. Good play there by Batonia, who was caught from behind. Stuart Stevenson. Redon Campbell asserting his authority early. The referee will take no nonsense. No Batonia, the APIA skipper. 207 matches now in the West End Soccer League. Started his career with Newcastle back in 1978. Tony Parison. Long one forward, and it breaks nicely now for Rod Brown. Hilton Phillips on the run through, and the offside flag was up. Kevin took there, indicating that Rod Brown used his arm, in fact, to control that one. Hilton Phillips, the fastest player in this APIA side. So Congiatis, 22-year-old goalkeeper. So he's had to bide his time at South Melbourne. Now making every post a winner since he's replaced Peter Lometz. Yankos with the clearance. Zarkis. Now Ward. And it's Zarkis again. This is Gary McDowell. Now Danny Wright. Way there from Mark Brown. Trying to play that one into space there for Craney. Off the heel, in fact, of Butler, and that really was an important intercept. It's Terry Butler again. And John Paul De Marigny. For Rod Brown. Brown there shadowed by Steve Blair, still Brown. Now Butler, playing that one inside quickly, Ward. Trying to turn, closed down there by Bobby Russell. Way there by Anizakis. South Melbourne there getting themselves into a few problems at the back. And now they can come forward, Miranda, now Postecoglou. Not enough weight on that ball. Butler was in there first, now Phillips. Phillips there, caught by Postecoglou. Free kick to APIA. 10 minutes gone in this first half. APIA Leichhardt 0, South Melbourne 0. So problems now for the young goalkeeper, Congiatis. John Paul De Marigny is the player who's come across to take this free kick. And Charlie Yankos and Arno Batonia have both moved forward. So plenty of height for APIA now in the South Melbourne penalty area. Arno Batonia, who's taken up a position at the far post. Jean Paul De Marigny swinging this one in. Now Lorenz. It's wide there from Edward Lorenz. Still to score this season. That fell in vitally for him, and he really gave this one some hammer. All loose. There's the player coming in. That wasn't too far wide.
Get out.
The South Melbourne coach there, Brian Garvey, making a few notes. APIA come forward again. Now Butler. Hilton Phillips. Stopped there by Postecoglou. A throw for the Soccer League champions. And again, taken this time by Terry Butler. Now Brown. Turn again from Rod Brown. Brought down there by Steve Blair. Rod Brown. 9 goals this season. Closely marked there by Blair. Now Phillips. Kick there trying to be taken quickly. Not the best of crosses there from Hilton Phillips. Richard Miranda, the strong man in midfield for the South Melbourne side. Spells at Preston and at Brunswick Juventus. Also made a few appearances for the Socceroos. But certainly, John, it's a good start from this APIA side, although South Melbourne matching them at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's been more APIA for me. I think South Melbourne will be a little bit concerned at the moment. They've been very impressive when we've seen them recently. One of the most impressive things is that they settle so quickly. But this afternoon, APIA haven't given them a chance so far, and one of the contributing reasons is that Terry Butler is really marking Danny Craney out of the game on this right flank here. Danny Craney they've set her up with so many moves for South Melbourne. So far, he hasn't been in the game. That's the reason why South Melbourne haven't got into it yet.
Yankos with the free kick now. Phillips trying to turn. This is Danny Craney. On forward. Tredenick, the player, coming back. Play there from Peter Tredenick. All under pressure now. Yankos. Mark Brown. Lorenz. Phillips. Game from Postecoglou. It's playing up all the way back. Tredenick was the player available. Tredenick there trying to play that one down the flank. His defence there, he got a very awkward bounce. He tried to pick Hilton Phillips back up. So throw for South Melbourne. Now Danny Craney. Postecoglou. For Mark Brown. So throw again to South Melbourne. Mark Brown, such an underestimated player with this APIA side, but certainly a player held in high regard by their coach, Rasic. Danny Wright. Put in there. Tied it up by Terry Butler. South Melbourne haven't had two happy experiences coming to Lambert Park. In fact, this is their 6th appearance. They've come here this afternoon looking for their first win. APIA have won 3 of the 5 previous matches and 2 have been drawn. Now Yankos. Phillips. Way there by Anizakis. Throw in fact goes to South Melbourne. Last time these two teams met here was back in 1983. It finished up in a 0-0 draw that day. Now Russell. Wade, who got a terrible bounce then. So throws to APIA. Now Ward. Paul Wade, the player, chasing back. Danny Craney needs help, needs somebody wide. Postecoglou's made the run. Still Danny Craney. Postecoglu on the run through. Now Danny Wright and Charlie Yankos under pressure.
Giving you a call, Danny.
The referee saying, in fact, it came off of Danny Wright. Goal kick is given. Danny Wright, former Australian Youth International. 15 appearances, scored 5 goals in those matches for the young Socceroos. Who cost South Melbourne $15,000 at the start of the season from Brisbane Lions. So Tony Parison to take this goal kick. Put on there by Lawrence. Ward was caught there, in fact, by Miranda. Miranda and Gary Ward, of course, were teammates back at Preston. On the first season, Preston came into the league. That was back in 1981. Now Hilton Phillips. Paul De Marigny on the run through. This one across way there by Postecoglou. APIA looking so dangerous when they break quickly on the flanks. Paul De Marigny getting forward quickly at every occasion. That's Stuart Stevenson. Caught there as he tried to turn away from Arnaud Batonia. But Paul De Marigny getting forward at every opportunity. It's such a good crosser of the ball.
Well, they're opening so well, APIA. It's a Rale Rasic tactic of opening on the flanks, and APIA are doing it really well today. There's a feeling within APIA camp that while they were trying to maintain their unbeaten record, that the players felt that they weren't allowed to play attractive football, and there's a certain feel today that APIA is really out to show that not just a champion side in one sense, but they can also a side that can play entertaining football, and they've certainly done that in the first 20 minutes.
So a throw on the far side to South Melbourne. Taken by Richard Miranda, the long throw specialist. Backheaded there by Danny Wright. Safely taken there by Tony Parison, although in fact the flag of the linesman was up on the far side. I think it was a foul throw by Richard Miranda. The referee, Don Campbell, acknowledged that. The back header, and safely taken there by Tony Parison. Batonia. Batonya's had such a good season for APIA. He's led the team to the championship. His first winner's medal in the West End Soccer League since, of course, he came into the competition in 1978. That was with Newcastle. Batonia again involved. That one breaks nicely though for Danny Wright. Away from Batonia. Still Danny Wright trying to whip that one across. Wait this time by Yankos. Ward laying it off into the path of Paul De Marigny. One for Rod Brown to chase. And they're just trickling through to the keeper. One thing though, John, South Melbourne playing rather square at the back, and Rod Brown, his pace, is a player that could really exploit that.
Well, not just Brown, but Phillips and De Marigny we've seen on the left. Ward has had some beautiful touches so far today. APIA really in good form, good touch. But to play square against them, as you mentioned, at the back, Mike, is suicide.
Now Ward again, lovely touch. This is Lawrence. Now Hilton Phillips with some space in which to operate. Still Hilton Phillips, player who started his career with Fulham in England. And that time stopped by Ange Postecoglou. Postecoglou, who a couple of years ago this month was in the Soviet Union, the Australian youth side, the World Youth Championships.
Hold him out!
Lawrence again quickly closed down, this time by Anazakis.
Stand your right, lock up!
Lawrence, this time by Steve Blair. Now Danny Wright. Stevenson and that one run. This is Gary McDowell. South Melbourne now have got forward. Very quickly. No, cut out by Charlie Yankos. Final ball that time for McDowell. Not the best, but Yankos there giving that one away. This is Danny Craney. Now McDowell. Miranda. Right, laying that one off. Now McDowell. Craney. Too close to the keeper, that from Danny Craney. But a good build-up by South Melbourne. There are plenty of players forward. No problems at all, though. Tony Pisano. The only player, in fact, in this APIA side who's played in every match this season. So 20 minutes gone now in this first half. APIA Leichhardt 0, South Melbourne 0. Now Miranda. Pushed off the ball that time by Arno Batonia. Batonia, former Australian international, 14 appearances, made his debut back in 1979, in fact, against Partizan Belgrade. A lot of people are still mystifying why he's not in the Winfield Socceroos squad at the present time. So Bobby Russell. Now Gary McDowell, Wade. Bobby Russell made a good run forward. They closed down though. Russell trying to lift that one in, away by Charlie Yankos. Now Lawrence. Russell chasing back and being forced to play the ball backwards. Zarkis. A handball there, the referee waves play on. Now Paul De Marigny. Long ball forward, looking for Hilton Phillips. Now Rod Brown. Phillips. Really struck up a good understanding. Still Hilton Phillips. Postecoglou made the challenge. The corner is given. So Hilton Phillips started his career with Fulham. He came to Australia, in fact, to play for Warringah in the New South Wales State League, and then moved on to Canberra for a couple of seasons. He joined APIA at the start of this year, taking time to settle. He's certainly now well worth his place in this APIA side. It'll be Paul De Marigny who will take this corner. So Paul De Marigny, 2 appearances for the Winfield Socceroos, swinging this one in. Header from Arno Batonia. Tried the glancing header there and it finished up glancing wide. Arno Batonia, who scored a couple of goals so far this season. The last one of those was back in our match of the day in August. 1-1 draw with Sydney Olympic. That time though, the glancing header finishes up well wide. Plenty of smiles around this ground this afternoon on the faces of the APIA supporters. The first league championship this year. Referee Don Campbell there, not too happy with the ball. Now decides to change it. So Postecoglou. Stevenson. Lifting this one in. Silo comes, good fist away there by the keeper. Now Paul De Marigny, obstructed there by Gary McDowell. Paul De Marigny, teammates for the Winfield Socceroos just a couple of weeks ago in New Zealand. And now Wade. Danny Wright. There by Batonia. Referee Don Campbell given. I think that Danny Wright's the player who's been penalised. Danny Wright there, umpire the tangle with Arno Batonia. Pushing and shoving. And a free kick results. Charlie Yankos. Ball forward. Down, the player who dropped back. And just touching that one back to his keeper. Head throw that from the keeper, but it breaks nicely in the end for Postecoglou. Postecoglou away that time from Butler. It's now by Mark Brown. Postecoglou, the legs there of Mark Brown. Checks. That's that one across. Away though by Charlie Yankos. Solid defending there from the Winfield Socceroos skipper. Now Miranda. McDowell. Just lifting that one in. Making the run through. No problems for Tony Parison. Tony Parison, the goalkeeper who started his career, in fact, with the Canterbury Junior Association before joining Sydney City. And now Charlie Yankos. Batonia. Rod Brown coming deep, but caught there by Steve Blair. Free kick quickly taken. And now Paul De Marigny. Now Terry Butler. De Marigny's made a good run forward. Zarkis was the player coming across. Still Paul De Marigny battling away and getting that one inside. Now Gary Ward. Ward trying the shot. Safely taken though by the keeper. So Ronnie Rasic, coach of the 1987 champions. Coach, in fact, who has been robbed on a couple of occasions. Of course, he was coach at Marconi in the first season in 1977 when they lost the cup final on a penalty kick situation, and they lost the league championship on goal difference. Certainly it's been a long time coming. Mark Brown, the player that time penalised. So a free kick to South Melbourne. There was the challenge. Referee there playing the advantage role, but Gary McDowell caught from behind by Mark Brown. So a free kick to South Melbourne. So Danny Craney. Free kick there, straight against the wall. Craney again. Butler was the player coming across. Throw goes to South Melbourne. Now Russell. Away by Yankos. Russell again. Now Miranda, Craney. Certainly South Melbourne will be looking to Danny Craney to really make things happen for them in midfield as Gary McDowell tries a shot from a long way out. Gary McDowell, who scored last week, his first goal of the season in that 1-1 draw against Heidelberg. It was a long-range shot as well. He tried it again here this afternoon. This time though, the shooting was off target. From a long way out, always rising. So Brian Garvey, coach at Wolves and Arsenal. Now Lawrence. Gary Ward. Now Mark Brown. Now Craney. Gary Ward, the player, chasing back. Still Ward. Terry Butler there, caught from behind by Postecoglou. So free kick now for APIA. Gary Ward there doing well, playing that one forward, and Postecoglou there into the back of Terry Butler. Yankos with the free kick. Now Rod Brown. Paul De Marigny. Paul De Marigny, free in there by Don Campbell. Paul De Marigny there with the shot. Safely taken though by Congiatis. Charlie Rasic. Would have appreciated that play there from Paul De Marigny. Going. Eventually got the shot in on target. Now Ward. And this time by Steve Blair. Tredenick, he's got some space. Still pretty Tredenick. The time from Bobby Russell. Faced now by Paul Wade, still Tredenick. Phillips. Ward. Plenty of players forward. Lorenz there trying to get behind the defence, and Ward just a bit too much weight on that ball. But again, a good move from APIA and a good understanding there between their players. Certainly, John, this afternoon, APIA trying to entertain this good-sized crowd here.
Well, they're opening on the side there, as we saw again with the overlapping on the flanks. It's APIA just so good to watch at the moment. They've really surprised me. I thought that it would be an anticlimax for them today with the championship wrapped up. They've really come out with the sense of entertaining, and they just haven't given South Melbourne a chance to get into the game. We've seen very little of South Melbourne's key players, Craney, Wade and McDowell, and APIA just dominating the match entirely.
Now Butler. Play that one down the line. Postecoglou was there for South Melbourne. Now Stevenson. Caught after he nodded that one down by Arno Batonia. Stuart Stevenson, 6 goals so far this season for South Melbourne. Just glancing that one down and then taken out of play by Arno Batonia. Rod Brown gets the first yellow card of the afternoon. Challenge. Ronnie Rasic there sees the funny side of it.
How many times did McDowell?
Brown. First name to go into the referee's notebook. Face there, the championship winning coach. So Craney with the free kick. Now Wade, the offside flag is up, in fact against Stuart Stevenson. So now Butler. Still Terry Butler. Now Lorenz. And Zakis was the player in there first. Now Yankos. Lorenz just touching that one through. This is Rod Brown. Placed there by Steve Blair. Hilton Phillips up in support. Hilton Phillips. Postecoglou, the player, chasing back, and the throw goes to South Melbourne. Angelo Postecoglou. Now Miranda. Fortunately get away with that one, but he only finds Terry Butler. Now Rod Brown. And Danny Craney. Gary McDowell. South Melbourne now getting players forward quickly. Still Gary McDowell. Now Wade. Paul Wade, leading goal scorer for South Melbourne this season. Anyone to add to his goal tally with shots like that. And Gary Ward. Mark Brown. Mark Brown there giving the ball away. Under really no pressure. And now Craney. Bobby Russell. Gary McDowell on the run through. Lorenz was in there first. Now Charlie Yankos. Switching play. Paul De Marigny on that far side. And this one in. Way there by Steve Blair. Good defending there by Steve Blair, former Australian Youth International. Also a senior Socceroo. 16 appearances for Australia at youth level. Won the Stars, in fact, for the Australian youth side back in 1981. That was a good clearance. Rod Brown was the player coming in. So a corner on that far side. Tredenik's the player going forward to take it. And more problems now for Kongiatis. Kongiatis, who made his debut back on the 30th of August. South Melbourne's 2-1 win against St George. So Tredenik. And it came off the head. Gary Ward. And a goal kick for South Melbourne. So Richard Miranda. A few problems with injuries the last few years. Certainly came good for the Australian B side back in 1984 in the World Soccer Series. So now Wright. He's failing to keep it in on that far side. Danny Wright. So a throw for APIA. Rod Brown. Now Mark Brown. Paul De Marigny again, a good 1-2. Mark Brown, it was such a good cross with the ball. Going to get that one across, and Danny Wright, in fact, had come back to cover. South Melbourne, 10 away matches so far this season. They've only managed 3 wins and a couple of draws. They've lost 5. Now Wade, beaten to the ball, that time by Terry Butler. Paul De Marigny. Lifting that one forward. Paul Wade. Just looking at a way to safety.
Watch the left side, Ange!
No problems at all for Charlie Yankos, who polices that one out of play. A throw for APIA. Yankos. A tussle there with his infield Socceroo teammate, Paul Wade. Now Tredenik. Good play there by Peter Tredenik. Still Tredenik. Picking up Phillips. Still Hilton Phillips. Lifting that one in. Just over the bar. Hilton Phillips there. Good run forward. 2 goals so far this season, Hilton Phillips, but it all started with some good play there by Tredenik. And Hilton Phillips, always an awkward angle. Trying to float that one across. Just behind the byline for a goal kick. Now Miranda. Body for Tredenik. Richard Miranda. Switching play. Sonia there with a headed clearance. Now Tredenik. Looking for Brown. Brown shields the ball so well. Steve Blair in close pursuit. Just getting the touch in. Brown there. Catching Craney. Referee there trying to play the advantage rule for Danny Craney. Referee Don Campbell there books Danny Craney. Danny Craney there, I think, has got a point. He was certainly fouled. I think referee Don Campbell there tried to play the advantage rule, and there was no advantage. Craney then appealed for the free kick. Nothing was given. Danny Craney there caught from behind. That's when referee Don Campbell tried to play the advantage. There was none in the end. Craney booked there for dissent. I think in those situations, John, one could feel a bit sorry for Danny Craney.
Yes, but at the same time, full marks to the referee for playing the advantage. It was something which Craney was unaware of. We're always on about referees playing at the advantage, and I thought Campbell did it well there.
So a throw on the far side to South Melbourne. Just about 8 minutes to go to half time. McDowell. Gary McDowell lifting that one forward. Now right. Miranda. Richard Miranda. Danny Wright. Paul Wade, in fact, trying the shot. The offside flag was up, and I can't see from here who was the player offside. That was a good move from South Melbourne, perhaps their best move of the afternoon. Sweeping play from one side of the field to the other. Good header there from Danny Wright. First time volley from Paul Wade. Finishes up over the top. Up here to win. Take the flags around Lambert Park this afternoon. John Paul De Marigny. Nick just losing control of that one again. We've got an awkward bounce. It certainly is difficult this afternoon for the players on this very bumpy pitch. Jean-Paul De Marigny turning that one back. Miranda chipping this one to the far post. Away there by Batonia. Paul De Marigny there. Played it back to Tony Bazzano. He didn't see that Richard Miranda had gone in between the defender and keeper. Miranda there chipping that one in. Nobody coming in at the far post for South Melbourne. Arno Batonia conceding the corner. Batonia, who's certainly led this APIA side this season so well. He organises the defence, such a good talker. Seems there that the corner flag has been broken by some of our television cables. Don Campbell. It's a stop controller, in fact, for a brush company. Somebody said to him, oh, he must be playing a sweeper. Running repairs on the corner flag. The drums beat. And Lambert Park. Certainly, John, one must say the APIA supporters really do bring some colour to the some of these West End.
Well, refreshing also, Mike. They have so many young supporters. I think one of the disturbing things for our National Soccer League is that a lot of the supporters are basically older people, but APIA certainly have their share of young supporters, and refreshing to see.
Well, still the repairs continue on the corner flag.
Well, it's not hold up for you while you kick out there, eh?
Well, you might have been able to pick that up, in fact, on our ground microphones. The APIA official there offering to hold it until the corner kick is taken. He's doing a good job as Miranda swings this corner in, fisted away there by Tony Pisano. Now Danny Craney with the shot. A bit too high there from Danny Craney. Corner was eventually taken. Tony Pisano there with a fist away, and Danny Craney, first time volley, just over the top. Certainly some glamour around here at Lambert Park this afternoon. Certainly that will please our cameraman. So 5 minutes to go to half time. APIA Leichhardt 0, South Melbourne 0. Yankos.
Are you going?
Certainly the cameramen are very busy this afternoon. Danny Wright giving that one away, Ward. Danny Craney. So they come more and more into this game now, Danny Craney. That's a good sign for South Melbourne. Ball forward wasn't the best, no problems at all for Charlie Yankos. And Gary Ward. Still Ward.
You got time, Manny.
Playing that one a bit too far ahead. Manny Zarkis there, tidying up. Now Paul Wade. Haven't seen too much of Wade this afternoon. Again, good anticipation, that time by Charlie Yankos. And John Paul De Marigny, space on that far side. Yankos, in fact, has carried on going forward. John Paul De Marigny there. Leaded by Bobby Russell. Bobby Russell, the Rothmans medal winner last year. Such a fine club servant, not only for South Melbourne, also for his previous club, Adelaide City. That time though, bringing down Jean Paul De Marigny. His free kick taken. And Gary Ward was the player caught offside. Free Don Campbell. He's kept a good control on this match this afternoon. He's given it every chance to flow. So Batonia, forceful header forward. John Paul De Marigny. McDowell. Russell. Batonia again was the player there for APIA. And Mark Brown. Lawrence. Spinning it wide, looking there for Hilton Phillips. Postecoglou there, just touching it back to his keeper. Kongiatis. Didn't put under too much pressure this afternoon. Ahead that time though, Batonia. Brown chasing back. Throw goes to South Melbourne. South Melbourne looking for their first win here at Lambert Park in this their 6th appearance. 2 draws. Been their best results to date. The other 3 matches finishing in wins for APIA. The last of those was back in 1982 when APIA won by 3 goals to 2. Charlie Yankos with a good heading clearance. The throw for South Melbourne. So Miranda. Paul Wade there with the back header. Now Stevenson trying to turn. The shot was blocked there by Batonia. Now Brown. Gary Ward. Now Hilton Phillips. Phillips faced there by Postecoglou. Play there for the former Australian Youth International fullback. Now Wade. Came off with Postecoglou. Throw now to APIA. Now watch, we're into the final 60 seconds of this first half.
Come on, Richard. What's the thrower?
Now Rod Brown.
The thrower.
Terry Butler. Phillips.
Hold, Angie, hold.
Still Hilton Phillips. Struck there by Danny Craney. Free kick to APIA. So Danny Craney, who's had spells at Celtic, at Blackpool, at Wolves in England, joined South Melbourne near the start of last season. It's a player who conceded this free kick. As we go into stoppage time now at the end of the first half. Tredenick, that one hard and low. Play there by Steve Blair. Now Yankos, straight up in the air. Tom Stevenson wins the challenge. And Danny Wright doing well to keep that one in. Miranda, good forceful play there from Richard Miranda. Play that one in quickly into release Stuart Stevenson. Now Wade. Craney trying the shot. Easily covered though by Tony Pisano. And the free kick quickly taken. Ryan Garvey. Would be a bit happier now than he was at the beginning. South Melbourne starting to come more and more into this match as we watch their Craney shot. He shot well wide in the end. Now Russell. So now Paul Wade as the half-time whistle goes. And John, I would say that as this first half continues, South Melbourne starting to come more and more into it.
They came back in the last 5 to 10 minutes, but I would think the first half really dominated by APIA. Some really good types of football that they played, but I would think for South Melbourne to really come back in, those key players of Wade, McDowell, Miranda and Craney have to be a lot more prominent and a lot more supportive of Danny Wright and Stevenson in front if South Melbourne's to get the 2 points out of this match.
So there's the half-time scoreline here at Lambert Park. APIA Leichhardt 0, South Melbourne 0. So let's cross now to Les Murray.
Thank you, Michael. So no score at half-time. Mike Irucalo, the APIA assistant coach, is with me. Mike, a bit of a deadlock there. You were saying it would have been nice to get one about 5 minutes before the break, but it would have been good to get one any time.
Sure, I mean, I think that's what the game badly needs, is a goal early on, and we're doing everything right. We're playing some excellent football. We're actually playing like a team that's just starting the season, let alone getting to the end of the season. And I think that's simply because the pressure's off us. We've won the league and we've settled down and we're playing well. And all we need is a goal. I think the thing we're probably overdoing is that we're just playing it a little bit too early, too soon. You know, we just have a tendency of rushing it from time to time. But I mean, apart from that, there aren't any complaints from our side.
How's it working out tactically? Is Rale happy with the way things are going against this specific opposition?
Sure. The boys are playing according to plan. We're knocking the ball out wide to our 3 front runners, and who I think for the first time in about 5 or 6 weeks they're playing some excellent football. Both Hilton and Rod Brown, who seems to be in super form today, all he needs, I guess, is a goal to keep that little lead that he has got as top goal scorer.
I noticed you were attacking away from the area where most of your fans are, behind the the other goal there. Does it normally make a difference going the other way around?
Yeah, well, it's a downhill charge in the second half, and with them behind us down there, I think we probably could see a goal or two in the second half. Hopefully we will anyway.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike Iricalo, the assistant coach of APIA, and there'll be more of Match of the Day after this message. Yes, that's Ernie Merrick, whose team, of course, today is meeting Marconi here in Sydney. And by the way, Preston Macedonia have not won a match in Sydney since they came into the league in 1981. So it'll be quite a remarkable record if he does win today. Well, the boys are out in this match between APIA and South Melbourne on the park for the second half. So let's go back to our commentator, Mike Hill.
Well, thanks, Les. And a quick check of both sides shows that they're both unchanged for the start of this second half from the teams that started the first. It's APIA now kicking from right to left to get us underway. So Gary McDowell playing that one down into the path of Bobby Russell. Now right. Mistake there by Batonia. Terry Butler, the player, tidying up. Forward now by Charlie Yankos. Now Miranda. There, trying to spread that one wide for Stevenson to chase. Around the player there for APIA, doing well to keep it in, but only as far though as Miranda. Comes off of Richard Miranda. So a throw now to APIA. That one into the path of Tredenick. Anticipation there, a good intercept by Manianizakis. Right, got that one on Stevenson. Now Paul Wade. Space in which to operate. Still Wade, faced there by Mark Brown. Russell. Danny Wright. Paul Wade again up in support. And that one to the far post. Nobody there though for South Melbourne. No problems now for Gary Ward. Gary Ward, 5 goals so far this season in the league, plus 1 in the cup. And Charlie Yankos. Ward again. Playing that one forward. Much too much weight on that ball. No problems at all for the South Melbourne defenders or their goalkeeper. Bobby Russell. As far as Mark Brown. Zarkis, way back to goal is blocked. Good cool play there from Manianizakis, who came up through the youth side at South Melbourne. Bobby Russell forward. Stevenson slipped. Not much we can do about it. Pushing there by Hilton Phillips. Referee Don Campbell, not too happy with the football again. So we get our third ball this afternoon. The game is going to recommence, I think, with a bounce ball on that far side. Thanks, a free kick's been given. Now Anexakis. Forward there by Tredenick. For the moment, APIA down effectively to 10 men with Rod Brown taking a break there just in front of the coach's bench. And I believe, in fact, the message is that he's hurt his back as Danny Wright's the player going through and caught offside. Kevin took the linesman on this near touchline. And now the referee has seen Rod Brown down. Receiving some attention. Rod Brown, who seems to have been plagued throughout his career with a back problem. I think there he twisted it in an earlier challenge. And Rod Brown is being taken off. The leading goal scorer, Tony Parison, is the player who starts to warm up, and concern there on the face. APIA coach Rally Rasic there checking with Rod Brown. And Tony Parison seems to be the player that will come on. APIA at the moment down to 10 men. Charlie Yankos. Now Butler. Butler, it's turn there from Terry Butler, veteran of this APIA side. Played that one through, touched on there by Gary Ward. Timed up by Manny Anazakis. Well, John, APIA down to 10 men and losing the services of Rod Brown. That really is a blow to them.
Yeah, big blow. Brownie was in good touch today, but South Melbourne a better second half start for them anyhow, and they certainly needed if they're to get the 2 points, because progress scores from other games, Mike. We had St George leading Brunswick 2-0 and Preston leading Marconi 1-0, which makes it all the more imperative for South Melbourne to get something out of today's game.
South Melbourne coming into this match today in 4th position. APIA, the league champions for 1987, the West End Soccer League. They've got a good record here at Lambert Park. They've been unbeaten there this season. In fact, their last defeat was back on the 31st of August last year when they lost 2-0 to Marconi. So this, in fact, their 13th match here at Lambert Park today. The previous 12, they haven't suffered defeat. Paul De Marigny. Lifting that one forward, a good run through there by Hilton Phillips. Hilton Phillips lifting that one over the keeper, and only inches wide. South Melbourne there were exposed. Rasic can't believe that one didn't go in, but it was Hilton Phillips, the player who was forward. Through ball there from Paul De Marigny, and Hilton Phillips lifting that one over the keeper. You can only watch. For South Melbourne, fortune there as it bounced wide, but misfortune there for Hilton Phillips. And while we were watching that replay, Tony Parison is the player who's come on now to replace Rod Brown. Tony Parison, 19 years old, his 9th appearance today for the APIA side, his first appearance this season. Now Gary Ward. Just bringing that one wide. Parison is the player who's caught offside. Parison, who scored 3 goals in the West End Soccer League in his previous 8 appearances, and in fact scored on his debut in a 2-1 win over Marconi on the 9th of June last year.
Here we go! Up we go! Pressure!
Postecoglou. In fact, to give away a corner. Slack play there. Postecoglou under a little pressure. I think he had to concede the corner. The artist knows there's pressure on him now. Paul De Marigny, such a good left foot. It's the player who's gone across to take that corner. He'll be able to swing it in from that side as well. Arlo Batonya's moved forward, so is Charlie Yankos. Paul De Marigny. This one in off the head there of Miranda. Another corner. McDowell, the Winfield Socceroo. Playing in Australia's recent defeat in Wellington. 1-0 loss to New Zealand. He's doing a sterling job this afternoon, but it's Richard Miranda, in fact, who gets that headed clearance away for another corner. This time taken short. Now Butler. Paul De Marigny again. Wide there by Gary Ward. Short corner there, catching out South Melbourne. Paul De Marigny drove that one across hard and low. It was Gary Ward who got the touch. Eventually finishes up wide. Came to him quickly. On the face of Rasic. Certainly APIA had a couple of chances in the last couple of minutes. Rasic is thinking it's only a matter of time before that goal comes that they so desperately need. They won the championship, of course, last week. They'd certainly like to celebrate it here this afternoon. A good win in front of their own supporters. Of course, next week APIA have a bye. And South Melbourne next week face Marconi at home. Denny. The head there of McDowell. Now Stevenson. Okay, Mark Brown just lifting that one forward. Giatis. See He's gone having a very charmed life in the last couple of minutes. Some of the youngsters here this afternoon catching up on Aussie Soccer, the latest magazine from the West End Soccer League. Parison. Tony Parison. This time forward by Mark Brown. Now Ward. Touch on. Getting away there from Rasic. Still Gary Ward. Gary Ward. APIA take the lead. Gary Ward. His 6th goal of the season, and the APIA fans celebrate. Gary Ward has been moved to the centre forward position. In the absence now of Rod Brown brings a smile to Rally Rasic's face. An absolute delight there to those APIA supporters. Gary Ward made this goal himself when he got away from Anazakis. Good ball finishing here. Only the keeper to beat. Gives the keeper no chance. 9 minutes gone now in this second half. APIA Leichhardt 1, South Melbourne 0. So Gary Ward, his 6th goal in the league this season. He's already scored 1 in the cup. Fireworks now being let off behind the South Melbourne goal as the APIA fans still celebrate. Now Paul Wade. What depends on Wade. Wade that time by Tredenick. Certainly now South Melbourne looking for their Winfield Socceroo players. Paul Wade, Gary McDowell, now Lawrence. Only go on his own, and now Hilton Phillips. Still Phillips. John Paul De Marigny there, completely unmarked. 2-0. The APIA fans again continuing the celebrations. And John Paul De Marigny, his 2nd goal of the season. APIA Leichhardt 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. Brings smiles and cheers from the bench. John Paul De Marigny, his 2nd goal of the season. But good work here by Lawrence. Laid it off right at the right moment into the path there of Hilton Phillips. Good cross. John Paul De Marigny there, completely unmarked. Bouncing into the back of an empty net. APIA Leichhardt 2, South Melbourne 0. Still those APIA supporters, they came along here this afternoon to enjoy themselves, to celebrate the league championship. But now they've really got something to celebrate. Now South Melbourne, Ange Postecoglou trying to get that one across. The ball goes out of play. A corner now for the visitors. And the APIA supporters been waiting a long time to celebrate National Soccer League win. The team were already ring crown champions, but certainly this afternoon they're playing with style. As Pisano comes, takes that one safely. Tony Pisano just throwing that one out. Now Mark Brown. Parison. Paul De Marigny there. Hit by Paul Wade. And Mark Brown, in fact, was pushed down by Stuart Stevenson. The free kick goes to APIA. Stuart Stevenson there being talked to by referee Don Campbell. Still those APIA fans celebrating behind the South Melbourne goal. They certainly do add some great colour to these occasions. John, 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. I think South Melbourne have gone.
Yes, I think that's the ball game, Mike. They've never been in the game all afternoon. APIA have exploited the flanks like they are now. With Phillips, a fine first goal from Ward, who's had a tremendous match. He's been a good touch, and then Phillips's exploitation of the flanks and the perfect cross for De Marigny. But on what we've seen from South Melbourne this afternoon, there's no way they're going to get back in this match. Their key players just haven't been in it. They've been outplayed all day by APIA. Here again on the
now
flank.
Phillips past the keeper, and it's going to go in, and Hilton Phillips, his 3rd goal of the season, and again the APIA fans celebrate. South Melbourne were cruelly exposed at the back. Chip forward there there by Gary Ward, and Hilton Phillips gets it past the keeper. He really didn't seem there to put enough effort behind the ball, but it trickles over the line, and 13 minutes gone now in the second half. The fireworks are let off again. The APIA fans celebrate. APIA Leichhardt 3, South Melbourne 0. So Hilton Phillips, his third goal of the season. And there's smiles everywhere now around Lambert Park. Nick Rapallo, president of the APIA club for so long, has waited so long for something to celebrate. I'm sure now the APIA fans realise it's been worth waiting for. West End Soccer League champions for 1987, and they're really turning on the style here this afternoon. Mitchell Miranda with this free kick for South Melbourne.
Up you go, KP.
Mark Brown tidying up and all the way back to Tony Parison. Machino, the order of the afternoon, and I think that might turn to champagne a bit later on. It's a long clearance from Pisano there, goes all the way through to Kongiatis. The young goalkeeper has been really cruelly exposed this afternoon. He can't be blamed for any of those goals. Stevenson touching that one on. Danny Wright. Danny Wright. Now McDowell pulling this one in and testing one for Pisano, who got a touch and away for a corner. Tony Pisano. The young APIA supporters, and that smile really says it all. Now Craney lifting that one through. Postecoglou on the chase through. Ange Postecoglou, who scored just one goal this season. That was on the opening day. Had the chance there. Played that one forward. And Postecoglou rushing his shot when he had so much time. South Melbourne making a substitution now with Carl Holford, the player coming on. Manny Amizakis is the player that's come off. So South Melbourne taking a gamble, taking off a defender and bringing on a midfield player in Carl Holford. Such an experienced player. He's had spells in England with Manchester City and joined South Melbourne back in 1982.
Means the move, Mike, too, of McDowell now going back to sweeper. We did mention earlier there was a lack of cover at the back of the South Melbourne defence, which has been cruelly exploited by APIA. Perhaps, of course, playing the double centre-half system, there wasn't sufficient cover that the normal sweeper position gives. And now the change has been made with McDowell going to sweeper, and one just gets the feeling that it is too late. South Melbourne haven't been in the match, and I think it's too late for them to come back now.
Gary Ward just trying to nod that one off. Paul De Marigny, who was making the run forward. Certainly is a hungry look this afternoon about this APIA forward line. Gary Ward now operating in the centre forward position in the absence of Rod Brown. And Tony Parison on one flank and Hilton Phillips on the other, two very fast players. And Stevenson, there with Batonia, turning that one back now into the path of Paul Wade. And Danny Wright. Plenty of players back. Craney this time with the cross. Stevenson now climbing, beaten for the ball by Mark Brown. And Gary Ward back helping his defenders. In fact, the offside flag was up. It seems that everybody's enjoying themselves here this afternoon. Nice to see some glamour at the West End Soccer League matches. Rasic certainly brought some delight to the APIA fans this season on this side. They've now won the league championship. So throw on the far side to South Melbourne. South Melbourne, who really haven't been in this match except for about a 10-minute period before half-time, now trailing here by 3-0. They came into this match in 4th position. least a win or at least a point today was really imperative for them if they were to make the playoffs this season. Now they've really got to struggle with this 3-goal deficit as Paul Wade makes the run through, but just fails to keep it in from Ange Postecoglou. Paul Wade there exchanging a joke with the fans. APIA supporters celebrating. Certainly are happy. Said John, it's nice to see so many young faces.
This might be the other thing, this 3-0 loss or the 3-0 deficit at the moment is not going to do South Melbourne's goal difference any good at all. They have 28-26 going into this game. That'll give them really a minus goal difference, and with the top 5 places more than likely to be decided on goal difference. It's really more than a loss here today for South Melbourne unless they can pick a couple of goals back. But on what we've seen in the 70-odd minutes so far, South Melbourne haven't looked like scoring, and there's nothing to indicate that's going to change.
Now Stevenson, and that one into the path of Danny Wright. Mark Brown was the player back. Can see the corner. So 20 minutes gone in the second half. APIA Leichhardt 3, South Melbourne 0. South Melbourne have a corner. Miranda. There with a header down. Gary defenders. One thing that's very evident about this APIA side, although Ward and Hilton Phillips and even Rod Brown when he was on, although they're listed as defenders, they do get back and help. Certainly APIA a very hard side to score against, as Paul Wade is the player this time caught offside. Paul Wade pushing more and more forward. The Samba beat. Lambert Park ground. Quite the Maracanã in Brazil. I think they'll be as happy as any fans anywhere in the world whose team has just won a championship. Postecoglou. Wade. Postecoglou again on the overlap. A tussle there with Mark Brown, and Postecoglou there just failing to keep it in. So Postecoglou, 22 years old, 9 appearances for Australia at youth international level. That's a couple of appearances at senior level. He made his debut at senior level last year in the matches against Czechoslovakia. He's getting forward. That time overrunning the ball. So Charlie Yankos with his goal kick getting good distance again. Miranda. Now Batonia. Parison. Lawrence. Trying to play that one through. It was well read there by Gary McDowell. Postecoglou again. And Terry Butler. Oldest player on the park, in fact, Terry Butler. He's been with the APIA club. It's nice to see that Terry will get a winner's medal. Tony Pisano there has to run quickly as he's tested there by his skipper Arno Batonia. But certainly, John, it's nice to see Terry Butler get some recognition now with this championship medal. Yeah, well, Terry's been one of the great servants of Australian soccer. My only sadness about the career of Terry Butler is that at national team level that for one reason or another that he was never able to make the contribution that one feels he could have. Just 4 appearances, it seems a tragedy really. Yeah, well, he was really just coming in the 74 era, and then when we had coaches who picked everyone who wore a soccer shirt and played for Australia, Terry seemed to miss the boat there. And then he's had his better years now later in his career where again he's missed the boat on the national team, but at club level and as a servant to the great APIA club, there have been very few better servants for APIA than Terry Butler. Always played the game in a skillful and played it in the manner it should be played. Yeah, Terry, 33 years old now. Today is 195th match in the West End Soccer League for APIA. Player who's always been with APIA since a junior. Certainly it'd be nice to see him get his league winner's medal as a just reward for those years of service. And then Craney. Postecoglou. Tussle on that far side with Hilton Phillips. Wade caught from behind by Charlie Yankos. Wade, who saw an exceptional form just a couple of weeks ago in our match of the day, South Melbourne against Adelaide City, getting involved yet again. Not really making too much headway this afternoon as Miranda comes in to try to pick up that pass from Craney, but was quickly closed down. Good throw. Gary Ward in that one forward. Tony Parison from the youngster McDowell, the player coming across. And Tony Parison. There by Gary McDowell. The youngster there did well. Now Tredenick. Parison. Now Tredenick. Against Gary McDowell. Throw to APIA. And Paul De Marigny. Lawrence. Paul De Marigny. Now Lawrence. Offside flag was up, in fact. Free kick quickly taken. So Steve Blair trots back to his defensive role. Such a good, strong defender, Steve Blair, for South Melbourne. A lot of people feel he's discarded from the Winfield Socceroos a bit too early in his career. And Hilton Phillips. Gary Ward. Phillips had gone for the return. That was well read and intercepted there by Gary McDowell. Now right. Miranda. Postecoglou there on the overlap. Run again from Ange Postecoglou. Tripping as he tried to go past Charlie Yankos. Nothing given. Problems in the end for Tony Pisano. De Laurentiis. A fine game this afternoon. It was a good ball picking out Butler. Away that time from Tony Parison. Paul Wade. Wade, the player they bought at the start of the season from Brunswick Juventus. That's a good through ball. Picking out Danny Wright, trying to play that one across quickly. And Arno Batogna was there for APIA. Really, John, one's got to say the final ball from South Melbourne players this afternoon has left a lot to be desired.
No, one A is good defending by APIA, but South Melbourne really haven't been in the game at all, and we just have to hark back to the lack of the presence of their key players, McDowell's and Wade and Miranda and Craney, four players who are so instrumental in South Melbourne playing well when they do play well, but they've just been absent today. They've been outplayed completely by APIA, and there's only one team in it. As the score indicates, and probably indicates the strength of APIA, there's not many sides could beat the South Melbourne side by 3 goals. That's certainly been the case today. I think a contributing factor has been that APIA is a much more relaxed side today. Perhaps their unbeaten record was putting undue pressure on them. But since they lost that last week to Preston, they've come out today in a very relaxed mood, very entertaining mood, and celebrated their championship success. And I think to the club too, it's been a long time between drinks for them. I think we have to go back to the mid-70s before APIA's last major trophy, and few can begrudge them their success.
APIA won the National Soccer League Cup in 1982. They're only on it today in the National Soccer League since they joined that competition back in 1979. Not one of the original entrants.
Yeah, I think you'd go back to the mid-70s for their last championship success. I think 74 I should say, 74-75 period since they won a championship as such. But they've proved today that they can not only win games, but can also entertain.
Russell, Miranda, Steve Blair, one forward looking for Danny Wright. Came off the hands, in fact, of Danny Wright, just trying to touch that one over the head of Mark Brown. Again, quickly taken. Now Lawrence. Now Tredenick. Batogna. Paul De Marigny, scorer of the second goal. Paul De Marigny. Ambitious that from Paul De Marigny, but the run was good and exciting. Well, at the end of it, left a bit to be desired, but again, good play there from Paul De Marigny, the youngster who started his career with Sydney City. Signed for APIA at the start of this season. Made his debut for the Winfield Socceroos in the tournaments in Korea. At that time it was a bit ambitious. Here he is again. Time Richard Miranda there, bundling straight into him. Ron Campbell just asking Miranda there to take it a bit easy. And Jean-Paul De Marigny there exchanging words with Stuart Stevenson. Carl Holford that time going into the back of Jean-Paul De Marigny. Carl Holford, 28 years old. Good experience in the UK before coming to Australia in the early 80s. Jean-Paul De Marigny. One into the far post, Batonian's forward. Rice is there with the punch away. Now Batonia, he waited, Blair was in there first. The overhead kick from Lorenz. Bounces tiny into the arms of Kongiatis. Edler Lorenz, 33-year-old. Quite a lot of experience in Poland and in Belgium. Joined APIA halfway through last season. Certainly has had a big influence on the game this afternoon. Now Terry Butler. Tredenick. Peter Tredenick. Curling this one in the far post. Gary Ward was close. Awkward end of that though for Gary Ward with the ball going away from him. Always leaning back. Didn't quite get the angle that he wanted. I have to say a tremendous cross that from Tredenick. Stevenson. Craney. Way there from Butler. Danny Craney again. Miranda. South Melbourne now with plenty of players forward. Miranda chipping that one in. Much too close to the keeper. No problems at all there for Tony Pisano. Tony Pisano has been put under a lot of pressure this season with the signing at the start of the year of Terry Greedy. The Socceroo. The pressure has really brought out the best of Tony Pisano. The only player, in fact, in the APIA side who's played in every match this season. Lorenz there. Beautiful skills. Lorenz. And a return from Butler, lane into the path of Ward, and now Hilton Phillips. Phillips curling this one in, Jean-Paul De Marigny. Touched a bit there by the keeper. Cleared the safety by Carl Holford. Then it's the player coming across. But John, again, some delightful play, and Lorenz again involved.
Yeah, just the build-up, delightful, but also the fact that they're building up so beautifully on the sides. It's the most effective way through. I think it's too often in the National League we see teams try to play too direct and to play through the middle. But APIA this afternoon showing one of the reasons why they're champions. It's just opening on the side of the field, and the combination play there has been really a delight to watch.
So now Charlie Yankos. Certainly APIA now entertaining their fans in the best possible way here this afternoon. Craney, South Melbourne still battling away. Stevenson. Now Craney. Yard of space for a shot, still Craney. Again surrounded there by claret shirts. Given the time that he wanted. Now Craney. This time trying the shot, safely taken there by Tony Pisano, and a good quick throw sets Jean-Paul De Marigny on his way. Jean-Paul De Marigny switching play completely, picking out Terry Butler. Forward now to Parison. Tony Parison, 4-0. No wonder those fans are celebrating. That was a goal with some brilliance, and it all started a long way back with the throw out from Tony Pisano, and eventually it found Terry Butler, who laid that one forward. Tony Parison there gets past the defender, glancing past the keeper. 33 minutes gone now in the second half. APIA Leichhardt 4, South Melbourne 0. Tony Parison, his first appearance this season, marks it with a goal. Tony Parison, who was brought on for the injured Rod Brown. APIA today letting everybody know why they're the West End Soccer League champions. For John, that was a goal of some brilliance because it started with a throw from Pisano into the path of
Well, the goal said a lot about the game, Mike, for just the simplicity with which APIA has won this match.
Parison, who's just scored the goal there, bundled into the sideline by Gary McDowell. So Gary McDowell gets a yellow card for that challenge. Tony Parison going into the bench. Charlie Yankos in there saying something.
Yes, Mike, just going back to that goal, it said a lot about the simplicity and the style with which APIA have won this afternoon. Just the 4 passes from Pisano to Parison scoring, end-to-end stuff, and really, again, says a lot about the ease with which APIA have demonstrated why they're champions of Australia this afternoon.
So a free kick for APIA. Parison, okay after that challenge from McDowell. Free kick taken by Charlie Yankos. All the way through this time to Kongiatis. All even more surprising than John APIA's performance this afternoon. They've done it without Rod Brown, who went off injured. But they've also got Alex Badalo, Zamey on the injured list, and Katholis. And Peter Katholis is out through suspension.
Yes, well, that's another reason is that they have so much depth. Champion side needs depth, and they've certainly got it.
Now Cole Holford, South Melbourne, given up the ghost, still looking at least for a consolation goal. Now Danny Wright, being forced away from the danger area. Craney, still Danny Craney. And Arlo Battaglia tidying up and playing that one all the way back to Tony Pisano. Arlo Battaglia, who really has this APIA side for example all season. Such a steady influence at the back. Such an inspiring captain. Charlie Yankos, skipper of the Winfield Socceroos. Pisano shouting instructions. One of the most talkative goalkeepers in the West End Soccer League, Tony. Stops chattering. A rumour that he actually talks in his sleep. Now Wade, Postecoglou, Miranda, now Holford. Holford, now for Danny Craney. Holford's made a run forward. Still Craney. Now Holford. Away. Across, cutting it back. Terry Butler was the player there. Edward Lawrence was the player. He was able to get it away. Lawrence is down in back play. The referee let him play go on. I think, in fact, the linesman on this near touchline, Kevin Took, has seen something in back play that saw Edward Lawrence go down in back play. So all eyes now on the linesman and the referee. Lawrence there called to get some attention. Kevin Took was the linesman on this near touchline. I think he might have seen what happened in back play. He called over referee Don Campbell. No move yet by the referee. He's there clutching his stomach. I think he might have taken a punch or an elbow or even a boot. There was a lot of players involved there and South Melbourne were pushing forward. Lawrence, who's had such an outstanding match this afternoon, he's found it hard in fact to break into this APIA side this season. Rasic, who not too happy with seeing one of his star players down. Referee Don Campbell does nothing. No player's been talked to. So although the linesman saw the incident, seems that it was purely accidental. Well, the APIA fans are happy this afternoon. Actually, it's been a great afternoon here at Lambert Park. Ideal weather conditions. Certainly we've seen a good display of football. Now Butler. Lawrence, again, a lovely 1-2. Lawrence there trying to set Parison on his way. Phillips is the player who keeps the ball in. But in fact wins a corner off of Gary McDowell. So now watch now. We're coming up to just 5 minutes to go. APIA now wanting to take a quick corner. Hilton Phillips and Paul De Marigny, the players there. Paul De Marigny. Away that time by Steve Blair, only as far low as Parison. Blair again battling. Now Lawrence. Hilton Phillips. Trying to get that one across, gets a second bite of the cherry. And eventually it's scrambled away there by Postecoglou. Now Danny Craney. Postecoglou. So 5 minutes to go in this match. APIA Leichhardt 4, South Melbourne 0. Far on the far side to South Melbourne. Edward Lawrence. Showing all that experience he's picked up in Poland and of course in Belgium. He's had a big influence on this APIA midfield this afternoon. He's played some delightful balls. So worrying times now for South Melbourne coach Ryan Garvey. The side came into this match in 4th position. Disconsolate there, South Melbourne bench. They know now that it's loss here this afternoon. It certainly them a place in the playoffs later this season. And the next match, of course, is at home against Marconi next weekend. APIA have a bye. I think that some of their fans could do with that. I think most of them will be celebrating so much tonight they might not recover by next Sunday. Certainly after what they've seen this afternoon, in fact what they've seen all season, I really can't blame them. Came off the Parison, so I'll throw in now to South Melbourne. Stevenson. Still Stevenson. Wait this time for Batonia. Stevenson cutting this one back. Danny Wright now. Holford. Craney. Charge down. Paul Wade at the far post was in an offside position. So referee Don Campbell, who's given this game every chance to flow this afternoon. And certainly the players have responded in the right way. Joy there on the APIA bench, although I'm sure that Rasic will be a bit concerned with Rod Brown at the end of that picture sitting there, having to come off with an injured back. It's a back problem that's caused him a few problems over the years.
We are the champions!
Rod Brown, the player who's just forced himself back into the Winfield Socceroos, came on as a substitute in both the matches against New Zealand. Certainly he'll be a disappointing young man having to come off this afternoon. He's had such a fine season with 14 goals so far. Referee Don Campbell found. An indirect free kick, so it must have been for obstruction. So this free kick to be taken now by Charlie Yankos. So Yankos. One forward intercepted there by McDowell. Now Craney. Melbourne now starting to make elementary errors. Really hasn't been their afternoon, but 4 marks to this APIA Leichhardt side. I think Joan, one could safely say on this afternoon's performance they've given any side quite a hammering.
Yes, well I think the scoreline says it all, Mike. South Melbourne's a team we've regarded highly here on the occasions that we have seen on a match of the day. And for anyone to beat them 4-0 really says it all. Butler with the cross. Most of the way there by the artist, and another corner and more pressure for South Melbourne. You can say South Melbourne have been disappointing today, but I think in all fairness you have to pay credit to APIA. They've just totally outplayed, outthought and outfought them.
Paul De Marigny with this corner. Whoa, by by Miranda for another corner. APIA fans there in good voice. They're giving their side some good support this season. Paul De Marigny again with the corner header away. That time by Wade. And Wade there caught with the feet high by Tony Parison. The youngster there, purely an accident. He really has had a good game since he's come on, including scoring a goal. Over exuberance there, but Paul Wade back on his feet. Free kick's been taken. Paul Wade, who joined South Melbourne at the start of this year from Brunswick Juventus. He certainly proved to be a bargain buy. Now Paul Wade, he's injured a minute ago in his own penalty area, now back up leading the attack. Stopped there by Charlie Yankos. Checking the watch there from referee Don Campbell. On our watch, we're showing about 15 seconds to go. Now Miranda. And that one across off of Varno Batonia, and a corner for South Melbourne.
We're champions, you know that?
So Miranda with the corner. There Yankos hooked away by Lawrence. As the final whistle goes, APIA are the champions for 1987, and they celebrated at home in fine style as their fans come on to mob their heroes. It really has been an entertaining afternoon with all goals coming in the second half. But John, what a performance by the new West End Soccer League champions APIA.
Well, from go to woe, Mike, only one team in it. APIA celebrating their runaway championship win in very fine style. The scoreline says it all, 4 goals to 0 over South Melbourne, one of the better sides in the Australian League, the Western National Soccer League. And there are APIA celebrating in front of their own fans, and congratulations to all concerned at APIA on not just a fine season, but a first-class performance here this afternoon.
Arno Batonia there, the APIA skipper being cheered from the ground, as in fact all the APIA players. All in fine boys. It's been a long time coming for Arno Batonia, who made his debut back in the National Soccer League in 1978. But now he's led APIA to the League Championship. The final scoreline here at Lambert Park this afternoon, APIA Leichhardt 4, South Melbourne 0. And after this break, we'll be back with Les Murray.
Well, thank you, Michael, and I might just warn you that behind me is an army of hard hats and APIA fans who are in a most celebrating mood, so we might have some problems with these interviews. Rale Rasic, the APIA coach, is with me, as is Brian Garvey. Rale, first of all, congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think even my wife will start to recognize me in this. Rale, congratulations on winning the championship, and again on, of course, winning today. It was a big scoreline. Now, you said before the game that now that the pressure is off, the boys might try to ease up a bit. Was that the reason you managed to pile on the 4 goals today?
No, as I said before, you know, it's 20 weeks of enormous pressure that we had to put up with. It was time to relax down and play real football, and this is what they exactly did.
Right. Brian, what's the explanation? This is the biggest margin for some time that I can recall that you've lost by. It was not something you would have expected, even against the champion side.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Rale and his coaching staff and his players and the club for winning the league. But today, I thought at half-time, we was well in the game. Up to half-time, I thought, just before the end of the first half, I thought we were looking to get a goal ourselves, and they had this good burst in the second half where they scored, I think, 3 goals within, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, and that really killed us off. From then on, and we was in a losing battle then, and of course they got the 4th one. And nearly scored others, and when we attacked them we never got crosses in, and we hardly knocked balls to the goalkeeper, and their defence played exceptionally well.
That's a point, Rale. What made the difference? Because there were no goals, there was a real drought before the break, but then it started to come.
You see, credit must go to Rod Brown, who worked extremely well in the first half. He was moving all over the field, and when you are under constant pressure of 45 minutes, dividends must be paid later on, which result came really because I don't think so they could sustain that pressure.
Yeah. So what are your plans at the moment, Rale? I mean, you're going to cruise through the rest of the campaign and attempt, of course, the top 5 playoffs. Are you happy with the squad at the moment, given that you really didn't expect to win the championship this season?
I'm delighted with them, but APIA is a team which can play, as proven today, 40% better football than what we are playing at the present time, with exception today. Every other game in the last 6-7 weeks, we could have done much better.
Brian, just very quickly, your plans are still to make it into the top 5. Some deep thinking to do before the match against Marconi next week.
Correctly, that's right, because that was our worst defeat of the season. We've never been conceded 4 goals against, but I mean it's against the champion team, and we'll have to certainly look for our next 3 matches. We'll have to certainly put in some better performances, and we need to score a few goals ourselves.
Sure. Brian, thank you. Commiserations today, and again, Rale, congratulations for today and the entire season.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. That's match of the day for today. Just before we leave you, we might just show you. Oops, let's just hang on for a moment. We'll go through the next week's round in just a moment, but first, let's check those pools results. And there are the pools results. I hope you had some luck this week. Just before we leave you, we'll go through next week's round in the West End NSL. Preston Macedonia at home to Melbourne, Croatia. South Melbourne at home to Marconi. That should be a good one. Sydney, Croatia entertain Heidelberg. Sunshine George Cross, the Wooden Spooners at home to Sydney Olympic. Brunswick Juventus at home to Adelaide City. And St George entertain Footscray, and it's the champions APIA who have the bye next week. They can take a well-deserved rest. More on the West End NSL tomorrow night in Sport Report Soccer at 8:30, and we'll see you then.
Soccer's for kids. Soccer isn't Australian. Soccer isn't tough. Soccer isn't exciting. In Australia, more kids play soccer than any other sport. If you want to show your kids how it's done, take them to watch the big boys play this weekend.
It's a game for heads and heart and feet. A game of skill you just can't beat. A thunderbolt hits the back of the net and your team looks gone, but they're not done yet. This is Aussie soccer. You just can't touch it. This is Aussie soccer. See you at the ground. You will see it all in the game with the round ball. This is Aussie soccer, you just can't touch it.
Sure.
And welcome to another On the Ball. Now, simmer down, don't change the dial. It's not the village people, just a couple of clowns who were silly enough to make a promise on television, and now they have to keep it. Some weeks ago, my equally silly friend here, Ange Postecoglou, and I made the pledge that when APIA had clinched the championship, we would become, for at least half an hour, two of APIA's renowned hard hat brigade, as you can now see. So here we are, true to our word. APIA did clinch the title last weekend, or was it last week? Which particular day, we're not quite sure. More on that little episode in a moment, Andy.
And this week there's quite a few stories concerning players and possible moves to other clubs. I'll give a full rundown, and of course the team lineups as well.
The wonders you hide under your hat. Also today, all is not well, and final on the decision for the National League to reinstate 3 points for a win. We'll hear more on that from NSL Executive Director Steve Kamas later. And we'll look at what's behind one of the brightest young faces in Australian coaching for some time, Preston's Ernie Merrick. But first, the highs and lows of last weekend. Good old Terry Patalis and Vince Estavio doing the stuff for us as well. Well, now let's recap on one of the strangest episodes in the league's history. That is before we decided to put these hats on. If we had known what the league and apparently a number of other people knew at this time last week, we would have been wearing this funny garb last Saturday. APIA were champions before they went into Sydney's game against Preston, even though they didn't know it. Or did they? Ange Postecoglou recaps on the last intriguing 4 weeks, which began when APIA met Melbourne, Croatia at Lambert Park on the 23rd of August.
Nice run by Trudenic, bit of pressure for the youngster, and he had to parry it away too.
16-year-old goalie Matthew Thomas had an outstanding debut for Melbourne, Croatia against APIA on the 19th of August, a match which ended in a 1-1 draw. But he was to have a greater impact on APIA's title chances almost 4 weeks later. On the team sheet, Thomas was registered under the Victorian Soccer Federation and not the National League, a rule which was stipulated in a reminder memo sent to all clubs on the 18th of May.
Well, we certainly never received such a memo. I have not seen it. The first thing I heard about that memo was when I read this morning's newspapers.
Is there a chance that in fact that memo did arrive at the club and that someone has bungled this whole operation?
Well, that's only that's a matter for a suspicion, but I don't believe it has arrived. I haven't seen it. Most of the correspondence goes to our president, Jack Scobler. Whatever correspondence he gets from the league, he gives it to me, so it's checked by him as well as by me, and then it's tabled at our executive meetings, and certainly there was no such a memo.
On Monday, the announcement was made that APIA had clinched the title, despite losing the previous day 4-0 to Preston. Croatia has threatened legal action over the point loss, which has seen them plummet out of the 5.
We'll be seeking the reinstatement of the point to us. We'll be asking the courts to stay the result as it was, which was 1-1, and for the league to award the point to us from that game.
The whole episode unfolded on the 4th of September. The NSL informed the club they had used an unregistered player and to explain why. No explanation was given, and on the 10th, the tribunal ruled against Croatia. The NSL then decided to keep the information secret until after last weekend's round.
I made the decision from Adelaide last Friday that we shouldn't do anything about it until the Monday after the match, because I felt it was wrong to give APIA the championship when the players were all keyed up. They've had a long, hard season, and I didn't want to deny them their moment of glory. And I think that's backed up by the fact that Rale, Rasic and Joe Prestillo somehow found out on Saturday night, and they chose not to tell the players also.
I heard in Melbourne that something was going to be a big shake today. But I didn't know which team it was, but I knew that the point was coming back to us.
You didn't want to tell the players before the game against Preston?
No, I didn't. No, we left it to today, this afternoon.
But sources close to the team informed me the players had already been told. At last Monday's training session, there was more a sense of relief amongst the squad.
It doesn't bother me. The way we won it is a fair way, I think. You know, if a team did a mistake by putting the young boy, well, bad luck, you know. That's how it goes. It doesn't matter how you win.
We've definitely created history in another way, but, you know, winning it like that. But we've worked hard throughout the season, and, you know, we won it fair and square.
Either way, the players are still happy anyway, aren't they?
Yeah. You know, going 20 games without defeat, I mean, that is a record on its own. You know, going 24 would have been fantastic, but we're glad to go as far as we did.
Understandably, Melbourne Croatia coach Peter Rollerton is extremely disappointed.
I'm sure all this thing would have happened. I think once APIA knew about the young kid being in goals, if they'd have won 5-0 that day, I don't think you would have heard anything about this one. But we drew 1-1 and possibly should have won the game, and all of a sudden somebody's been looking through the team sheets or whatever, spotted something what's gone wrong there, and obviously made a case of it.
Even if Croatia takes legal action, Kamaz believes it won't be successful.
They really have to have some firm grounds on which to appeal, and we gave them the opportunity to come up with those grounds before we made the announcement.
They didn't come up with anything?
Not at all.
So it doesn't look like anything will come out of it?
I would doubt it very much.
APIA seem more concerned about their lineup for tomorrow's home match against South Melbourne during Monday's light run. Mark Brown is back from suspension, but Peter Catholis has 12 points, while Alex Bundalo and Buren Zamey still are injured. Either way, APIA was bound to win the championship, and the belated news didn't stop the team from celebrating.
Fantastic. Well, what a mess they made of the VIP room there.
It's not a VIP room, mate.
Wasn't it?
Oh, it's not now, is it?
Who was it? Pisano again, was it?
Hey.
The gang
I'm
leader?
not putting any names up front. You know me, Les. All undercover, mate.
No, well, you're well protected today.
Very protected.
Listen, I heard a story this week that Tony Pisano is actually going to stand aside. And did you see that story? And let Terry Greedy have a game?
I don't think... don't think Tony would ever stand aside for anyone.
For the right price, could have.
That's right. We had a story earlier this year. Terry said he was going to put him out of training. Might be this afternoon.
Time has come.
Training run this afternoon, they might.
Time has come. What news have you?
What news? I've got quite a bit of news, I can tell you. Melbourne, Croatia are really going to set the world on fire, hopefully next year and hopefully this year for their sake. But they've got plans of trying to snare Gary McDowell, Jeff Olver and Steve Smith. Now, that's just 3 players that I've picked up. And the other players there from Croatia's squad this year, Hayes, Campbell, Hannah and McIntosh, are either retiring or going back home or not playing on with the club next year. Other news with Robbie Dunn, he's interested in winning a position with the NSL. There's a promotion marketing job available in Melbourne. And now he's going to throw his name into the hat, and we're watching that very closely. Sunshine will have no changes for tomorrow's match. The other news is with their player, John Markovski, he's been the target of several clubs over the past couple of seasons, and 2 of those clubs I can mention are APIA and Melbourne, Croatia. And there's another Sydney club which we're watching very, very closely. St George and Brunswick. There's a triple header on there tomorrow. There's a youth game semi-final between Saints and APIA. The main game starts at 2:30. Then at 4:30, a state league game, Rockdale against Inter Monero. Andy Kosker is fit but mightn't get a run. The coach, Frank Alrock, has got a full complement of players. The other good news with that promotion there is $1 for parents if their kids come in their junior outfits. We don't recommend hard hats, but you can wear an APIA jersey if you like. Juventus have Peter Lewis out through suspension. Footscray and Olympic. Zdravko Luic has not trained at all since that incident in Sydney. He's seeing specialists at the moment. He's suffering dizzy spells still, so it doesn't look too good. We mightn't see him play again this year. Sydney Olympic have Dacos and Cosmina back. The players most likely to be dropped, I'd say, it'd be Johnson and Sard. I'd say I put the name in the hat. Sorry, Abbas. Sorry, Stuart. Marconi and Preston. Marconi have the same team. Macedonia, Steve Smith is available, but no changes are expected there. Adelaide City and Sydney, Croatia. Adelaide City are another club trying to recruit players. They're out for 5 players, 2 of those from the Institute of Sport. And my sources tell me that they're going to try and re-sign Stevie Maxwell, their ex-player. Croatia, one of their 3-star strikers will be dropped. I don't know if it's Lamond, Arnold or Slater, but Tony Krislovic has played in the youth team this year, scored 25 goals in 16 games. Adelaide Hellas and Brisbane Lions are still haggling over when and where they should be playing their NSL promotion playoff home and away matches. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not going to throw my name into the hat on that one. And the New South Wales State League finals are on tonight in Sydney at the Marconi Stadium. The first grade match, Blacktown and Canberra. But the NSL match is on tomorrow. Footscray at home to Sydney Olympic at the Schindler Reserve. Melbourne, Croatia take on Sunshine George Cross at Olympic Park number 1. St George are at home to Brunswick Juventus, the triple header of course, St George Stadium, main game 2:30. Marconi take on Preston Macedonia at the Marconi Stadium at 2:30 p.m. APIA Leichhardt plays South Melbourne at Lambert Park at 2:30. They always checks for wearing these hard hats. Adelaide City and Sydney Croatia the other game at the Olympic Sports Field. And my Greek friends Heidelberg have the big bye. Alexandro.
And I don't know how anybody could take you seriously going through that, wearing that gown.
Oh, I can tell you, it's all
What
fact.
did you say? Because I didn't hear a thing.
Come on, Les.
You had some big news, did you?
Nice
Did you mention the APIA promotion?
Oh,
I want to be
geez,
reminded
sorry,
of the
Joe.
APIA promotion.
Might get shot if I forgot. Sorry, Joe, only joking. $22,000 car up for grabs tomorrow. Trip for 2 to Europe. Me and Les have already rigged that. No, we haven't rigged it. There's a trip for 2 to Surfers Paradise and other stuff. Big raffle on there tomorrow at Lambert Park.
Thank you, Andy. The decision for the league to go back to 3 points for a win seemed to be signed, sealed and delivered weeks ago. Now it seems there's a snag, and frankly it doesn't look too good a chance to be reintroduced at all. The decision to reintroduce it was part of a resolution which was carried by barely more than a 50% majority. Some clubs who voted against it are now claiming the vote was unconstitutional. Here's NSL Executive Director Stefan Kamas.
Well, it is unconstitutional because at the last Council of Clubs meeting when it was passed, it really needed 2/3 majority because it did form part of the regulations, and that was an oversight on everybody's part. So the matter has to be raised again and sufficient notice has to be given. And I just hope that the clubs go along with the recommendation from the executive that we change to the 3 points, and that will require at least one Melbourne club that's opposed to it now changing its mind.
Do you expect to get the majority?
Well, I would hope so, because I think the club should realise that when the executive makes this sort of recommendation, it's for the benefit of the league in general. And I'm a little surprised that they've been opposed to it, in view of the fact that in Melbourne this year they seem to have suffered with crowds and the standard of play, and should look at every opportunity to improve the attitude towards the game.
That is very surprising with the Melbourne clubs, isn't it?
It is a little, but ironically enough, if you look at last week's tables, the Melbourne clubs are starting to creep up there, so you really never know, do you?
What about summer soccer? How's that coming along?
Well, at the moment, I'm still undertaking the study, and I've written to a number of media outlets to ascertain their views on summer soccer and the type of exposure we would get. And the initial feedback I'm getting is that we would increase our coverage in radio and in the newspapers, and we're talking to television shortly. We're also talking to the clubs and getting their views, and obviously some are opposed, some support the idea, and there are those that are sort of sitting on the fence at this stage and are not quite sure which way to go.
Stefan Kamas there on a couple of big issues, and why anybody would want to vote against 3 points for a win is quite beyond me. Preston Macedonia's charge into the top 5 is nothing short of amazing after a mid-season crisis that led to the sacking of the club's coach and captain. Ernie Merrick was somewhat a surprise choice as the new coach back in June, but in a few short months he's installed Macedonia as Melbourne's leading club. The lineup that defeated APIA last weekend had an average age of just 22, so Merrick has a team for the future. Carl Patterson went to the Connor Reserve this week for this profile on the man behind Macedonia's revival.
Macedonia found time to bask in the limelight this week, and why not? After crushing league champions APIA and moving into equal second place, there were reasons to be cheerful.
Come on, Grant. Come on, Kenny. There's a small son.
A photo session for the NSL's glossy magazine required full battle dress, and the players were only too happy to oblige. No one can accuse these guys of being camera shy.
Quite achiever.
Yet coach Ernie Merrick treads warily amid the glare of publicity. After 3 remarkably successful months in charge, Merrick is hailed as a messiah by the Macedonia faithful, and he's fully aware of the pitfalls.
I don't like the idea of anyone, myself or any of the players, being put up on a pedestal at the club. I've had a very good run, but I don't want it to go to anyone's heads. And at the same time, as soon as you're put up there, you can be knocked off, and you seem to fall a lot further.
In 11 games under this quietly spoken Scot, Macedonia has lost only once, scoring 17 goals in the process. But these figures hide the real story. To many observers, Macedonia was a team overburdened with average players and lacking in key positions. But in the past couple of months, there's been a transformation. Several so-called fringe players are now showing the confidence and surety of veterans, according to club captain Connor Pasinas.
I feel that since Ernie has come, that a lot of the players have come out of their shell, only because Ernie's a type of player, if you like to express yourself, by all means, it gives you the right. Every team goes out with a tactic on the weekend, but the good thing about it is Ernie gives players opportunities to express themselves, which I feel is very important for the younger guys.
This transformation hasn't come by accident. A physical education teacher with a degree in sports science, Ernie Merrick puts great emphasis on mental skills.
The main area, I think, is a psychological approach that the boys have to the game. They seem to be more confident, they're more aggressive, they're more determined, and they don't panic under stress situations. I'm a real fan of sports psychology. I've done a few courses in the area, and that's the area where the boys seem to have improved the most.
Does this explain why players like Bill Pikolovsky, Mike McLennan, George Petrov, who were regarded perhaps earlier this year as being perhaps fringe players or stopgap players for Macedonia, now seem to have the confidence as though they've been there for years?
I don't know that I ever regarded them as fringe players, but I think my approach, getting back to modesty, has been a little bit helpful in that regard. But those boys themselves have been given a difficult task to do, knowing that they were the ones that had to do it with the number of injuries we had. And those boys themselves have come out of their shells, as it were, and are performing like veteran players.
But that's not to say Macedonia's resurgence was born from the power of positive thinking. Far from it. Ernie Merrick's boyish good looks belie a wealth of playing and coaching experience, mainly in the Victorian State League. A newcomer to the NSL he is, but the 34-year-old coach rejects the idea that he's a novice.
Relative inexperience. I wonder how many coaches serve an apprenticeship. I've been coaching since '79 in the first division in the state league. I've been in the state league for most of that time as assistant coach or senior coach. And since '79, that 7 or 8 years, I've only had 18 months break. So I have coached for quite a few years without a break. And I pursued all of the coaching qualifications that you can get either here in Australia and one overseas. So I don't know if I'm inexperienced. I've a fair amount of experience behind me coaching.
Not that anything could have prepared Merrick for the turmoil he inherited in June this year. As assistant coach, he witnessed the internal strife that led to the sacking of coach Bill Murray. At the same time, Macedonia kicked out club captain Ian Dobson and sold him to Melbourne, Croatia. Earlier in the year, the club sold Sean Lane and dumped the experienced pair, Gary Cole and Graham Hayes. Remarkably, there is now a great sense of unity around the club, and teamwork is perhaps Macedonia's key element. However, it seems Ernie Merrick's low-key public profile hides another part of his makeup. Does he ever lose his cool in team talks or show any anger at people if they don't do the right thing?
Actually, he has a few times. He lost his cool the first game we had against Melbourne, Croatia. But he approaches every situation very professionally. So I'd say that it's a good sign.
John Stewart and Steve Jackson, who together cost Macedonia in excess of $30,000 when they transferred from Brisbane Lions this year, say their coach has more than one way to get his message across.
He rarely loses control of his emotions. I think if he does go a bit hot-headed, it's just to fire us up, because it's a pretty low-key team. There's not many sort of characters compared to other teams I've been in, and I think it's just to get us going.
And Steve, you being at the back, obviously a hole was left in the side when Ian Dobson left the club and a lot of responsibility was on your head. How did Ernie react to that?
Well, Ernie had a lot of faith in Billy Pikolowski coming in as well. I was sort of thrown in the deep end to a certain extent, but the back four players we've got now they're a great side, good defenders, and we've done well so far. Results have shown it. Ernie's had a lot to do with it. He's sort of strengthened the team up as a whole.
How would you characterise your coaching style?
A benevolent dictator.
All right, Ernie, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Carl Patterson with Ernie Merrick, who doesn't want to be put on a pedestal. Indeed, Ernie Merrick is doing a fine job with his young team, but they will have to work. Will have their work cut out tomorrow to beat Marconi. Believe it or not, Macedonia has failed to win a game in Sydney since entering the NSL in 1981. Maybe tomorrow will be a first. We'll see. All right, Andy. Listen, we must mention the shirts. The shirts come from Peter Catholis' sports store in Marrickville. Thank you, Peter. Well done, old son. Best midfielder in Australia.
What are you buying? A few tracksuits and some shorts and shoes, are you?
Oh, I might pop in there. Listen, a couple of things I want to show you, Andy, and
I've seen it all now, mate.
Everybody at home. This is a thing that's come out, and it's very good for those of you who are interested in coaching juniors. It's an initiative of the Australian Council for Health, Physical Education and Recreation. It was launched this week, and there's the cover of it. It's a coaching manual. And it's going to be very, very handy for, as I said, coaches, budding coaches who want to coach juniors around the country. And there are sketches and all the basics of coaching kids, and that's available from the offices of your local state federation. So contact your local state federation for that one.
I'll take that to Eddie Thompson's training session.
Good, I think that's a good idea.
Just joking,
also,
Eddie. Joking.
Last week we showed you how the New Zealand papers treated soccer over there with their big splash back pages. Now we were taken to task by Phil Murphy of the Illawarra Mercury, who shows us that the Illawarra Mercury is indeed doing very well when it comes to putting soccer on the back pages. So the Illawarra Mercury down on the south coast of New South Wales becomes Australia's newspaper of the decade. And if we got a little bit of time, have we, Dorian? A little bit? I can show you one little thing. Some little kids came up to me in Melbourne when we were down there for the international match and showed me the school newspaper that they have published. There is a cover of it there, Peter Raskopoulos on the cover, and you can see various articles inside. So that's a great little effort by those kids in that school. Now, the only thing wrong with that is that I don't remember which school it was. The kids never told me, in fact, nor their name. So if you're watching, kids, please let me know what that school is which puts out this little soccer newspaper.
Les, while you're at it, I've got one to show you too. Peter Raskopoulos, sitting for the Canterbury Council elections next Saturday as an independent. So there you go, there's Mr. Raskopoulos there, and a bit of information. Peter, of course, grew up like myself in Earlwood, which is in the heart of Canterbury. Good luck next week in the elections.
In Earlwood?
Earlwood.
Grew up like yourself?
Oh, you know, I used to play soccer with him.
If you're campaigning for votes, I would not say...
Hey, I'm not campaigning, Les.
Right.
I can tell you one story about Rasco, under 9s. We were 0-0, my team Hilton Park, his team Earlwood. Finished the game, I was in goals, 8-0, close game. Thank you very much. Rasco, 6 goals.
All right, thank you, Andy. We'll be getting the wind-up signal here. World Soccer this afternoon has a Yugoslav match between Hajduk Split and Red Star Belgrade. Match of the day tomorrow at 4:30. Thank you very much. See you then.